What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So GameStop might actually be on to something. They may be figuring things out in the new age of selling games because they struck a deal with Microsoft that should significantly help out their back end of their business when it comes to their computer system and the way they sell games, but maybe also on the gaming side when it comes to Microsoft and their Xbox. We'll talk a bit about that here today. Also, we get to talk about xCloud and how it seems that they may have a plan for the iPhone. Remember, it's on Android, but they've had a lot of issues there trying to get it on Apple's devices and their ecosystem. They might have figured that one out. And Mortal Kombat 11, yes, finally, that character is being added. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton. And if you're brand new here, hit that red subscribe button down below. And we're gonna start today with Bugsnax. Now, when they first showed this, I didn't think it would get as popular online as it has so far. It kind of, at first, seemed like a meme online, but no, people seem legitimately interested in this one. It won't be an expensive game at launch for the PlayStation 5, and it has now gone gold, and they are confirming now, as you can see here on Twitter, that it will be coming November 12th on PS5, PS4, and the Epic Game Store. On the Epic Game Store, it appears that it's going to be 15% off, so it'll be a little cheaper there at launch. But you know what? The more I've seen about this game, the more I'm at least curious to try it out. It's from the developers behind Octodad, so it looks out there, we'll say. But again, the PS5 comes out. I will be looking around for games to play. Demon's Souls is first, though, then Spider-Man Miles Morales, then maybe Bugsnax, or maybe I'll just pop in to check it out because, again, it's strange enough that I am at least curious to see what it's about. Also, do you remember Marvel's The Avengers, the game that came out not too long ago? And I picked it up on the PlayStation, played it, and then kind of put it down. I kind of fell out of it. It really wasn't keeping me in their live services like I think they were hoping, and it seems like it's kind of going that way for a lot of people. As you can see here, Forbes picked up that on Steam, the concurrent player count has started to drop below 1,000 people at a time, and that's actually causing issues with matchmaking for the game. And this is a game, like I said, probably wasn't a live service when it first kind of was conceptualized and started being made, and then part of the way through, they realized how expensive the project was going to be, and they had to kind of pivot to something that would last a while and continue to bring in more and more people and more money, hopefully over a period of time. I think having these periodic character releases, like Hawkeye, for example, and obviously Spider-Man, will work to bring people back, but I have been talking to a lot of people, and it does seem like that is the case for most, that they were playing it, and then they kind of hit a wall, whether it's during the end game part or just the way the game glitches and has a lot of bugs. Remember that bug list that they released that they had fixed, and it was like 1,000 or something? So the game either needed more time in the oven or needed to just be just a less of a live service and more of a co-op single-player style game. Oh, and while we just talked about Bugsnax going gold and seemingly coming out on the PS5's release, it does appear that we will have another delay elsewhere with Outriders. And gotta be honest, I kind of forgot about this one, but you can see here Komatsu picked up the press release, and we are seeing Outriders fall to February 2nd, 2021. This, of course, is being published by Square, and it's being developed by People Can Fly. And this was one where they had the full press event. I remember Max Dreamcast guy went and checked it out, and to be honest, I don't know, it looked kind of bland, it looked kind of forgettable, and that's probably why I did forget about it. There also wasn't a lot of talk around it either, and I guess the fact that there wasn't a lot of marketing being pushed out there, whether it's online on YouTube ads or just through Google or other websites for gaming, I didn't really see anything for it, so it makes sense that it would get pushed. But they did talk about how there will be free upgrade paths if you have, like, on the PS4, and then you get a PS5 after February 2nd next year. You can then just upgrade, and they'll also have cross-play and cross-generational play. So it at least seems like there's a lot of options there all the way around to play with other people on different platforms. And if you're looking forward to it, just gotta wait a couple more months now. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. We're starting right away with this partnership that's been struck now between Microsoft and GameStop. And this kind of came out of left field for me. I don't think anyone expected GameStop and Microsoft to come to some sort of deal where Microsoft would provide quite a bit for GameStop's backend, but here we are. We can take a look at the tweet here from GameStop. Then we also have a press release from Microsoft. It says, GameStop announced a multi-year partnership with Microsoft to expand our physical and digital omni-channel ecosystem and enhance our retail tech infrastructure to create the ultimate gaming destination for gamers. Now, over on Microsoft's site, they do go over several things that they will be providing. For instance, it says GameStop will standardize its backend and in-store solutions on Dynamics 365, Microsoft's portfolio of cloud-based business applications and customer data platform, empowering associates with integrated experience across its business operations, including finance, inventory, e-commerce, retail, and point of sale. This is a big deal because I think that means that GameStop is going to finally upgrade their computers from Windows XP. Additionally, associates will be equipped with new Microsoft Surface devices that will transform the in-store experience and help unlock new retail experiences in the future. The mobility of Microsoft Surface will allow associates to move freely within the store footprint, meeting the needs of customers faster and more efficiently. That's not a bad idea because there are stores now where you go in and they don't need a register. That's something that the Apple Store, for example, has. So there you go. They're kind of going that route where an associate can meet you anywhere in the store, ring you up right then and there, and I guess if you need a bag, can get you one. But you don't have to necessarily go up to a register, stand in line or anything, and they can kind of walk around with you and help you pick things out. It is a bit easier that way, and it is more efficient to kind of get everything done right then and there in front of the games even, or any accessories. Now, they also go on to talk about Microsoft 365 and Microsoft Teams, which should allow the associates, they say over 30,000 or so, to actually be able to talk back and forth a bit easier for enhanced productivity. I guess that could be for conference calls or whenever we would have something in stock at our GameStop and someone would call and say, can you hold it for this person? Maybe it's a little easier to communicate back and forth rather than having a call and maybe the line's busy and you have to wait legitimately just to ask them if they have something, or it would be a lot easier to communicate back and forth from your computer pretty easily just by typing. It was pretty bad, I will say, for the computer system we would use. It was on Windows XP, even like when Windows 7 and all this was coming out, and it sounded like they might try to make the jump. Nope. You know what? I am curious, anyone out there who's working at GameStop right now and heard about this, and you hear that the point of sale is getting upgraded and the idea of Microsoft Surface tablets being in store with you, how exciting was that? Because those computer systems are pretty sad, aren't they? Now, they do have a bullet point here talking about kind of the more gaming side, saying following decades as an essential provider of the Microsoft Xbox Team platform and services, GameStop has expanded its Xbox family of product offerings to include Xbox All Access, which provides an Xbox console and 24 months of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate to players with no upfront costs. GameStop and Microsoft will both benefit from the customer acquisition and lifetime revenue value of each gamer brought into the Xbox ecosystem. So this makes a lot of sense for Microsoft to go this route, and obviously it makes sense for GameStop. One, it's a customer for Microsoft from a business perspective, large chain of stores, right? I know they've been closing some, but it should still be over 5,000 stores that GameStop has. We hear about 30,000 associates at these GameStop stores. So Microsoft gets a big contract here with GameStop. On GameStop's side, it seems like they will be incentivized to sell that Xbox all-digital system, and this is where things get a bit interesting because obviously they're going to work some different things out with the new infrastructure and point of sale and all these things they're doing. I almost wonder if GameStop will start to work more into digital sales in store, because keep in mind, you can't trade games in necessarily, at least now anyway, if you're buying all digital or anything like that. So maybe they're working something out there. Microsoft still wants to be able to get Xbox systems in your hands any way possible. Xbox All Access is a big way to do that, but stores still kind of need to be around for that. It's harder to sell online. We've seen it, right? So if they can make that work, help to keep GameStop around even, and kind of have at least some stake in GameStop right now, I am curious how this will work for GameStop if all of a sudden the Xbox section will be all big and lit up and have arrows pointing in it and everything. I kind of don't think so because GameStop needs all of these systems to sell just to be able to stay afloat, but we'll see what kind of direction they take here and what tricks they may have up their sleeve when it comes to Microsoft digital games and the Xbox All Access. Next up, let's talk about xCloud and the iPhone. Now, we've had some issues here with Microsoft trying to get xCloud on the iPhone, specifically into Apple's ecosystem. Apple wants to curate every single game within that application, even though they don't do that for things like Netflix or Amazon Prime or any of that, right? With Amazon Prime on-demand video. They don't do it there, but they'll do it seemingly with games. At least that was their reasoning for xCloud staying off despite massive backlash. They really haven't bent too much on it. It seems like they're trying to work something out, but Microsoft has other plans. And you can see here Business Insider has learned that there was a meeting where they kind of go over their strategy. And what it comes down to essentially is that they will work to provide a browser-based version of xCloud. And Phil Spencer himself says we absolutely will end up on iOS, telling employees there at Microsoft just that. So the idea here is essentially what Amazon is doing with Luna, where they're not going to provide an application in the App Store. You're just going to be going through a browser. When you press the icon on your screen, it's going to load up, I guess, your Safari browser on your iPhone, and all of a sudden it detects your controller that's synced to it, and you're playing xCloud. You sign in, and that way they can bypass the App Store completely, which is a good strategy because then Apple won't be able to curate it like they're talking about this, because you're just going through your browser. It was smart to see Amazon mention this, and that's what they're pursuing with Luna, and I figured it was a matter of time before Microsoft was going to do this. Now, apparently, in that meeting, they also talked about next year, there will be browser-based xCloud for your PC, which is something that I am really looking forward to because I think that will be a massive push then for xCloud. You can play it on a PC that's not good at all at gaming. All of a sudden you load up a browser with a pretty good internet connection and you can start playing right there. That is great. I know the phone experience has been pretty good, but I like the idea of being able to just drop it on your laptop that has a bigger screen, better controls, keyboard, mouse, any of that, and you're off and running. So we'll see how long it takes for this iPhone web browser bypass application thing to come out. They're saying sometime next year, but I think they want it out as soon as possible. So look out, I would say even first quarter next year, they'll try to get this thing out to different iPhones, which is good news for iPhone users because it wasn't great when this whole thing went down between Microsoft and Apple. And really, it was just the customers, the gamers, who were suffering from it. Next up, let's talk about AMD and their new CPUs. They did announce their new processors for Zen 3, and they look pretty good. If you're going from Zen 2 up to Zen 3, and it's a comparable frequency, core count, all of this, about 26% gain, but we can see the chart here that they put out. This was from The Verge, going over the different options that were displayed to us. They also showed off Big Navi to a degree. We don't have a lot of details, but it looks like they may have an answer for that RTX 3080. It's gonna come down to pricing, but we'll see more about that towards the end of this month. But we have a couple of options here, ranging from $300 all the way up to $800 with the AMD Ryzen 5 5600X, that's 6 cores at 12 threads at a 65-watt TDP at $300, clocking all the way up to 4.6 gigahertz. That would be through boost frequency. Then we have the Ryzen 7 5800X, that's an 8-core, 16-thread. This is where they get up to 105 watts TDP at 450. And then the one that I was looking at, I think a lot of people were, if you were looking to upgrade, the Ryzen 9 5900X at $550. This is something that they are trying to compare more to the i9 10900K model, and they even did some benchmarks against it, and at $550 it does come in below that while having comparable or even slightly better performance in some games. And then the big one there, the 5950X, 16 cores, 32 threads, while still retaining that TDP of 105 watts, going up to 4.9 gigahertz and $799. This is great, by the way, because Intel is talking about how they will now be showing their chips pretty soon. So good competition here for Intel. I'm really hoping because we see this competition right now with processors, now all of a sudden Intel's like, okay, we're gonna go now. We're gonna introduce some really good processors, and we see how impressive these are for the pricing. It is great to see that competition. So I'm hoping that means that at the end of this month, we'll have competition between NVIDIA and AMD when AMD shows off Big Navi, and we get some of these type of products over on the GPU side of things. Anyway, if you're looking to upgrade your processor, November 5th, they start at $300, work their way all the way up to $800, but that 5900X, for me, looks like the one to get for content creation and, of course, gaming, but good stuff there from AMD yesterday. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Mortal Kombat 11, Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, their Fighter Pack 2. There was a lot of stuff shown here, even talking about the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X version of the game. But the big thing here is some new characters. There are 3 of them showing up, and one of them seemed to set the internet off because it's a character that has been asked for constantly since this game came out, and that is, yes, Mileena. They did put out a full trailer, and we can see some of that here. They are introducing Mileena, Rain, and Rambo. That's a creative thing. They always come up with these creative guest characters now. It's really, really fun to see who they have because you really can't guess it. But this will launch November 17th, and it will have an upgrade path up to the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series version of the game, which will have a 4K dynamic resolution, significantly reduced load times, and crossplay, along with cross-generation multiplayer, which is good stuff there. Now, if you want the Ultimate Edition, that of course has everything. That'll be out November 17th, or you can just buy into the Fighter Pack 2 if you would like, or if you already have the Aftermath expansion. There's so many things here to buy, so keep that in mind. If you don't have any of it, you can just grab that Ultimate Edition, you'll be good to go. To me, that's probably the one big weakness of a lot of these fighting games is over time they end up with all of these different fighter packs, and it gets kind of complicated. I guess that's why they did the Ultimate Edition. Also, they get to sell the game again, technically. But anyway, Mileena is heading into the game, which is great for everyone who was in Ed Boon's Twitter mentions, because anytime he tweeted anything out, it was always like, where's Mileena? Where's Mileena? Where's Mileena? There you go. She's finally being added. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Brian saying, gonna spray paint my PS5, already thinking of some designs. I thought about this myself because, I mean, that would make a pretty fun project, a pretty fun video. My problem is, I'm not very good at spray painting systems like these, and I would probably mess it up. Or it would work, but it would be a 10-foot mod is what they would call it. It looks good from 10 feet away. But if you're really good at spray painting or just painting in general, hey, you know what? It probably could work out well. It's supposed to be like more of a matte plastic on the side, so maybe it even absorbs paint better than kind of the glossy front black part. And you just take the sides off, you spray them down, I guess, really well, and put them back on as all one color, and you can make it look really, really cool. Of course, I'd probably make it purple, but hey, if you're good at it and you can make the system look really, really nice with just some spray paint, maybe try it out and put it online and see what people think. Ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. Enjoyed this video, guys? Hit the like button, really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. Whether it's Mileena finally getting added to Mortal Kombat 11, are you someone who was always asking Ed Boon for Mileena on Twitter? Let me know about that. Or Microsoft and GameStop coming to this agreement, and GameStop seemingly getting a pretty big upgrade, while Microsoft gets a spot there at retail after closing down a lot of their Microsoft stores. Huh, funny how that one works out. And then xCloud on iPhone. Are you happy to hear that they at least have a plan to get on the iPhone next year? Thanks, guys, for watching. Have a great weekend. I'll see you back here Monday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time for Newswave.